Can you tell the jurors, have you ever been to a club here in Atlanta called Club Crucial?
I have.
Okay, and is that somewhere you had been more than once before April 28th, 2015?
Probably so.
Okay. Well, is that a spot that you and Mr. Zachary and his friends, whoever it may be, would hang out on, I guess, a monthly basis or more than once a month?
I guess you could say that.
Is there somebody who can swear the witness? Where did all the...
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give in the matters pending before this court and this jury will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, ma'am?
I do.
Okay, you can put your hand down. And if you'll just have a seat, and then make sure you pull the chair up a little bit, because you're very light-spoken, so everybody can hear you, okay?
Okay.
All right, Mr. Body's back at it. The sound is good? Okay.
Now,
Let's move this up a little bit.
good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you tell the jurors, Ms. Good, where are you from?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay. Are you born and raised?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you do for work?
I'm a clerk.
Okay. And do you live, does the majority of your family also live in the greater Atlanta area?
Yes.
Okay.
That's his paramour.
Now, can you tell the jurors how you know, or if you know, a gentleman named Quindarius Zachary?
I dated Quindarius Zachary.
Okay. And could you tell the jurors how long did you date Mr. Zachary?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember when you and Mr. Zachary met?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me when you guys met?
I don't know the date, but I remember it was after a club.
Okay. And do you and Mr. Zachary have any children together?
No.
Okay. And were you dating Mr. Zachary, let's say back in 2015?
I don't remember.
Okay. Now, let's see if we can try to jog your memory a little bit. So, when you and Mr. Zachary were dating, did you ever share a home together?
His ex-paramour, as they say.
I believe
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
His ex-girlfriend.
And did you call him Quindarius, or did you have a nickname that you generally called him?
D.
D? Okay. And
bet she
can you
did.
tell the jurors, through your relationship, did you, I guess, can you tell them where Mr. Zachary was from? What part of Atlanta?
Capitol Homes.
Okay. And where is Capitol Homes?
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Okay. And back in 2015, did Mr. Zachary live off of Cleveland Avenue with his mom?
I believe so.
Okay. And can you tell the jurors, did you have an opportunity to go to his house where he lived with his mom off of Cleveland Avenue on multiple occasions?
Yes.
Okay. And just to orient the jurors, where on Cleveland Avenue, if you can describe, did they live?
I believe behind the Checkers.
The Checkers? Okay. Now, during your time that you spent in a relationship with Mr. Zachary, can you tell the jurors, did you have an opportunity to kind of meet some of his friends or associates?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you have an opportunity to meet a gentleman named Antonio Sledge?
Yes, I did.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Here we go.
And what about someone named Shannon Stillwell?
Yes.
Okay. And what about someone named Jeffrey Williams?
No.
Okay. Do you know, was that somebody that Mr. Zachary would spend time with, someone named Jeffrey Williams?
That's what he told me.
Okay. And what about, had you ever had an opportunity to meet someone named Demikian Garlington?
Yes.
Okay. And Were they, any of the people we just mentioned that you had met, did you, I guess, hang out with them often, go to restaurants or clubs, or hang out at people's houses with them?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in the time that you were dating and in a relationship with Mr. Zachary, can you tell the jurors, did you ever see him with firearms that he owned?
Yes, I was with him when he purchased one.
Okay. And can you tell the jurors, when you were with him, where did he purchase a firearm?
I don't recall.
Okay. Do you remember when you were with him, what kind of firearm or what the firearm looked like when you were there when he purchased it?
No.
Okay. Now, can you tell the jurors, were there times, or were you with Mr. Zachary, and were you aware in 2015, in May, that Mr. Zachary was arrested?
Can you be specific?
She
Around
said
May,
specific, not
May
Pacific.
7th,
Here we go.
were you aware with Mr. Zachary when he was arrested?
I believe so.
Okay. And do you remember a time that when Mr. Zachary was in custody, he would call you, I guess, through the jail phone?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember that after one of the phone calls that you had with Mr. Zachary in September of 2015, you reached out to ATF agents?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember, can you tell the jurors why you reached out to ATF agents or law enforcement?
Because Quindarius wanted me to see why was he arrested.
Okay. And after that phone call on September 16th of 2015, did you go and meet with some agents and detectives at the City of Atlanta Police Department a couple days later?
I did.
Okay. And on September 18th of 2015, do you remember who you met with?
I don't.
Okay. Can you tell the jurors or describe for them, was it a man, a woman, was it both?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember multiple people being in the room when you were speaking with law enforcement on September 18th?
I believe so.
Okay. Now, when you arrived, I guess,
Yeah, I hope he's taking
to speak
over.
with the law enforcement agents, can you tell the jurors, did you talk with them about some of the guns that you knew that Mr. Zachary owned?
He's
I
getting
believe
to
so.
it, Veronica.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can you tell the jurors, did you talk with them about some specific guns that he shared or gave to some friends that we've mentioned here today?
I remember hearing it, but I don't remember it actually happening.
Okay. So when you say you remember hearing it, prior to today, you had an opportunity to listen to a recording of your interview with ATF agents and members of the Atlanta Police Department. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And when you listened to that recording, did you recognize your voice?
I did.
Okay. And it's something that you listened to from start to beginning?
Yes.
Okay. And was there anything about that recording when you were speaking that made you think it wasn't your voice?
No.
Okay. And do you actually, you remember, or do you remember actually going to meet with them back in 2015? Maybe not the context or content of what was said, but you actually remember going to that meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and during that meeting, do you remember talking with and telling the detectives that Mr. Zachary had given a firearm to Antonio Sledge?
Yes.
Okay, and do you remember talking to and describing the firearm that he had given to Antonio Sledge?
Not really, but okay.
In listening to the recording, do you remember telling the detectives that he gave Antonio Sledge a small black handgun, the one that you were with him when he purchased it?
I do.
Okay. And
Yes.
Interesting. I wonder what they're going to approach about.
Do you want the witness to?
She's over there showing Amy some love.
okay, so I want to talk to you, pivot just for a second. We talked a little bit earlier about some of the people that you described that you had met that were friends or associates of Mr. Zachary. Remember that?
Yes.
And
Done, Lavisa. I got you.
you and Mr. Zachary, you dated for multiple, or did you date for multiple years?
I believe so.
Okay. And in the times that you and Mr. Zachary dated, can you describe for the jurors, did he, based on your personal knowledge, hang out with Mr. Williams, Jeffrey Williams, on a number of occasions?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
You want me to answer that?
Yes.
I've never actually seen him hang with him.
Let me ask you this question. Did, you're familiar with social media, Instagram,
Objection
Facebook?
to the leading question.
Are you familiar with,
Overruled. Well, yeah.
are you familiar with social media like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, things like that?
Yes.
And do you have those things?
Yes.
And did Mr. Zachary back then also have Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of those good things?
I believe so.
And in the number of years that you were in a relationship with Mr. Zachary, did you see photographs of Mr. Zachary and Mr. Williams together?
Yes, but I didn't think he knew him then.
Okay. Well, when you saw, your testimony is you saw photographs where they were hanging out, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And
Yeah, no, I'm going to object. That's a mischaracterization of the witness's answer.
I'll rephrase. Were they hanging out in the photographs?
I don't know if they was hanging out. I'm not sure. I wasn't there.
Yeah, how
but
would you know that?
It was a picture of them together.
Not a great question.
And did you see pictures of the two of them together on multiple occasions?
I believe so.
Okay. And in the times that you were in a relationship with Mr. Zachary, did he travel with Mr. Williams?
Objection, hearsay.
I don't remember.
She already answered it. Come
Rephrase.
on, Judge
Were there
Whitaker.
times when Mr. Zachary was traveling and you and Mr. Zachary be on a FaceTime call and you would see...
Objection to that leading question.
Did you FaceTime Mr. Zachary when he was traveling?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember telling the agents that there were times that you would FaceTime Mr. Zachary when he was traveling?
I believe so, but I don't remember actually FaceTiming him while he was traveling.
Okay. Well, do you remember in the recording that you listened to, you described FaceTiming with Mr. Zachary at times?
I believe so.
And in one of the occasions that you described, or do you remember one of the occasions that you described FaceTiming with Mr. Zachary that he was traveling with Mr. Williams?
I don't remember.
Okay. And do you remember, would you dispute that you said that during the recording that you listened to?
Can you repeat that question?
Would you, in the recording that you listened to, if that's in there, would you dispute that? Would you say that isn't true?
Are you asking would I say that it's true that he was traveling with Mr. Williams?
Yes.
I don't know.
Okay. And do you remember during that interview, you also talked about times that you dropped Mr. Zachary off at the studio and Mr. Williams was there?
Objection. Calls for
Jeez.
hearsay.
That was a
it's
tough
leading
question.
and speculation.
Sustained to leading.
So let me break that down. Were there times during your relationship with Mr. Zachary that you dropped him off at different studios?
I don't remember.
Okay, do you remember telling the detectives that was something that you would do?
I believe so.
And do you remember telling the detectives on at least one occasion when you dropped Mr. Zachary off at the studio Mr. Williams, you saw Mr. Williams.
I don't remember.
Okay, you don't remember telling the detectives that?
I remember listening to it and saying it, but I don't remember seeing him.
So you heard yourself say that?
I did hear myself say that.
Now, during that interview with the ATF agents and the Atlanta Police Department, God bless you.
Oh Lord, jeez, scared me. That scared me too.
Now,
Jeez.
you talked about other firearms that Mr. Zachary had given to
I'm going to
other
object to the
friends.
leading question.
Overruled.
You can
Gotta
answer the
ask it
question.
again.
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Yes. Do you
She's still
remember
scared from that
talking and
sneeze.
telling the agents and the detectives in September of 2015
I think we all did.
about other firearms that Mr. Zachary had given to other friends?
I do, but I don't remember any other firearms.
Okay. And when you say I do you remember hearing yourself say that when you listened to the recording?
I do.
And do you remember hearing yourself say during that interview and on the recording that he gave?
Your Honor, I'm going to object. It's based on hearsay.
I might have to look at the recording, the
Okay.
interview.
State would say that it's accepted to hearsay because it's impeachment due to a prior inconsistent statement
Of,
of Mr. Zachary.
Same objection. There's no predicate for impeachment by an inconsistent statement.
All right, so he just told you the whole play, and some of y'all mentioned it in the chat. All of this is to get at Mr. Zachary. So, Mounk Tounk, it's gonna be in some hot water, but here we go. We already
that's
knew
our
that,
issue
though.
that we discussed up here.
Dang.
Well, can we approach?
Sure.
Shout out to Amy for dropping the 10 bomb. She says, people may hate love, but she's the boy's best hope of getting out. Oh, dang. She's the defense's #1 team member. They need to pay her some more.
During the interview in September of 2015, where you described that Mr. Zachary and Mr. Williams were friends. Do you remember saying that?
I don't remember saying it, but I remember hearing it.
Do you remember hearing yourself say that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you also remember or hearing yourself say and describe that Mr. Zachary and Mr. Williams traveled to places like Miami on multiple occasions?
I
I'm going
remember.
to object again on the grounds of hearsay. He
Overruled.
has personal knowledge.
Well, I
Come on, Judge Whitaker.
sustained as to that.
Jeez.
I
Do you
assume that's
remember?
what you're asking.
Do you remember telling the detectives and the agents that you had personal knowledge that Mr. Zachary and Mr. Williams traveled to Miami on multiple occasions?
I don't remember.
Do you remember hearing yourself say that?
I do.
Okay. Now, I want to bring your attention to January 12th of 2015, okay? Do you remember talking to the detectives and the agents about an incident that happened at the Crystals off of Cleveland Avenue?
Not the crystals. Man.
I do.
Okay, and can you tell the jurors who is Antrivia Smith?
My cousin.
Okay, and can you tell the jurors around that time in 2015 in January, was your cousin Miss Smith dating somebody that you knew by the nickname Kel?
I don't know who she was dating at the time.
Okay, and do you know or did you know someone who you referred to as Kel?
I don't.
Do you remember talking to the detectives and officers with the Atlanta Police Department about somebody you knew by the name of Kel?
I do.
Okay, and can you tell the jurors, do you remember going to that Crystals to meet your cousin, Miss Smith, around 1 o'clock that morning on January 12th,
Got hundreds of
2015?
more witnesses left.
I do.
Okay, and can you tell the jurors, were you driving?
I don't remember.
Okay.
She
Were
don't
you
recall.
with anyone?
I believe so.
Okay. Do you know a person with the last name Miss Anderson?
I do.
Okay. And do you remember talking to me yesterday about the fact that she was in the passenger seat of your car that night when you went to the Crystals to meet your cousin?
I do.
Okay.
Shout
And
out to
can
V.
you tell the jurors what you remember when you got to the Crystals that you did?
I remember pulling up on the side of my cousin, and me and her was talking and playing, and then we heard a gunshot.
Okay. And can you tell the jurors, you said you heard gunshots. Do you remember talking to the
A gunshot.
Okay. Do you remember talking to the detectives and telling them where the gunshot came from?
I do.
Okay. Can you tell the jurors?
I believe I told them that the guy in the passenger seat had shot the gun.
Okay. And in the passenger seat of whose car?
My cousin.
Ms.
Yeah,
Smith.
they're allowed to
Yes.
talk with their
And
witnesses,
can you
yo.
tell the jurors, I guess, who
She's not on
that
she's not on
person
trial.
was in the passenger seat of your cousin's car, Ms. Smith?
I don't know him, so I don't know, but they told me that it was the guy that she was dating.
Well, I don't want you to tell me what anybody else said, but let me ask you this question. Do you remember telling officers that responded that night, as well as agents and other detectives on September 18th of 2015, that the person in the passenger seat of your cousin's car was someone that you knew by the nickname Kel?
I do.
And do you remember hearing yourself on that recording and from that night on January 12th, describing to them how you had just requested him on Instagram?
I do.
And do you remember providing them
Jeez.
with the Instagram handle for Mr. Kell?
I do.
Okay. And do you remember the Instagram? Do you remember what Instagram handle you told the officers and the detectives what Mr. Kell's handle or ID was?
I think I believe. I don't know.
Okay. You said you think you believe so?
I don't really remember.
Okay. Well, can you describe for the jurors or tell the jurors the handle that you remember giving to the Atlanta Police Department that night?
I think it was like BMG something. I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember it being BGCMB_Shell?
Probably so.
Okay.
Shell
And,
Kell is big nuts, brother.
Can you tell the jurors what kind of car was your cousin driving that night? Do you remember?
I don't.
Do you remember telling the officers that responded that your cousin was in a red Pontiac Grand Prix?
I don't.
Okay. And can you tell the jurors after the officers arrived, after the shooting incident, well, first, were you injured?
I was not.
Okay. And can you tell the jurors after you spoke with the officers where you went? Do you remember?
I don't remember
Come
where
on,
I
Yellow
went.
Dog.
Okay. Do you remember telling them and talking to me yesterday about the fact that you went to Mr. Zachary's home off of Cleveland Avenue that we talked about today, where he lived with his mom?
I believe so, but I don't remember where I went.
Okay. And do you remember telling the officers and talking to me yesterday that when you got to Mr. Zachary's apartment that early morning, that Mr. Zachary wasn't there?
I believe so.
Okay. And do you remember what you told the detectives and what
Shell
you
Kell
told
is
me yesterday
YFN.
as to where he was on January 12th of 2015?
I believe I said Miami.
Okay. And do you remember telling the detectives that you knew he was in Miami because that's when you had FaceTimed him earlier that day, and he was in Miami?
Probably so.
Okay. Now, can you tell the jurors how you know someone named Miss Alexis Bryant?
That's Quindarius' cousin.
Okay. And back in 2015, was that somebody that you would consider a friend or you'd hang out with?
I guess, like, yeah.
Okay. Was she somebody that you had hung out with or been with on more than one occasion?
Yes.
Okay. And had you
she
been to
seems
her
nice.
home in the Eagles Nest apartment complex before?
Yes.
And about how many times do you think you had been to her apartment?
I don't remember.
More than one?
Probably so.
Okay. And can you tell the jurors, have you ever been to a club here in Atlanta called Club Crucial?
I have.
Okay. And is that somewhere you had been more than once before April 28th, 2015?
Probably so.
Okay. Well, was that a spot that you and Mr. Zachary and his friends, whoever it may be, would hang out on, I guess, a monthly basis or more than once a month?
I guess you could say that.
Okay.
Of course.
Now, do you remember talking to the detectives back in September of 2015
Bitter ex,
about a
maybe.
fight that you saw
Maybe.
at Club Crucial on April 28th of 2015?
I do, but I don't remember a fight. I remember hearing it, but I don't remember a fight.
Okay. And when you were listening to when you were listening to that recording, do you remember telling the detectives that the fight?
Objection to the leading question.
Do you remember telling the detectives that
Do you remember what you
Mr.
told the
Garlington
detectives?
was jumped that night?
I remember hearing myself say that.
Okay. And you remember hearing yourself say that you actually witnessed the fight?
I remember hearing myself say that.
Okay. And do you remember during that recording who you told the detectives kind of jumped in to help Mr. Garlington when he was being beat up?
I remember
don't say
hearing
that in
myself
front of
say
Woody.
Antonio Sledge.
Okay. Do you remember
Woody does not like
also
talking about
telling
him
the
getting his butt whooped.
detectives that person you knew as Tay jumped in to help as well?
I don't remember telling. I remember hearing myself say it. So I remember hearing myself say that.
Okay. And can you tell the jurors, how do you know Tay?
I don't remember how I know him.
Okay. Do you remember telling the detectives that you knew Tay through Miss Bryant?
Probably so.
And telling the detectives that Tay was Miss Bryant's boyfriend?
Probably so.
And can you tell the jurors what you remember saying or what you remember hearing yourself say in that recording after the fight was broken up, what you did?
I don't remember what I said.
Do you remember telling the detectives that at that point you were leaving the club? Remember that?
Probably so.
And can you tell the jurors what you remember telling the detectives happened as you were leaving Club Crucial?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to this line of questioning. I believe it's appropriate to ask what happened before we ask what she said.
Do you remember what happened when you walked out of Club Crucial that early morning on April 28th of
Gabby said
2015?
those pretty
I
girls
do
love a
not.
good knucklehead. This is not me, y'all. It's the courtroom. It's not me.
Do you remember, so you said you don't remember what happened when you walked out to the parking lot of Club Crucial?
I don't.
Do you remember hearing yourself on that recording describe to the detectives and the agents what happened?
Kinda, yes.
Okay, what do you remember hearing yourself say?
I believe I said I went to Alexis Bryant's house.
Okay, and what did you tell the detectives happened before you went to Miss Bryant's house?
I don't remember.
Because you don't remember telling the detectives and then talking to me yesterday and telling me that when you were in the parking lot, a shooting happened at Club Crucial.
Asked and answered.
No, I don't remember telling you that either yesterday.
Okay, and now you said after you left
Seems like you already
Club
asked that
Crucial,
question.
how did you get to Miss Bryant's house?
I don't remember.
Okay, and when you say you went to Miss Bryant's house, is this the same apartment that we talked about a little earlier that you had been to on multiple occasions?
Yes.
Okay, and
Oh,
can
here
you
we
tell
go.
the jurors who was at Miss Miss Bryant's house when you went there that early morning on April 28th?
I don't remember.
Do you remember Alexis being there?
Not really, but I'm pretty sure she was there.
Okay. Well, do you think that you went to Miss Bryant's house by yourself?
No.
Okay. Did you have a key to Miss Bryant's house?
No.
Yeah, she
So,
did not
in
look
order
like
to get
a
in,
witch.
would Miss Bryant or somebody she lived with have to let you in?
Yes.
Okay. And you got into her apartment that morning, right?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember how long you were at
I don't know what you're talking about.
Miss Bryant's home?
I don't.
Let me ask you this question. You said you don't remember, but how do you know that you were there?
Because I remember I was there.
Okay, so you remember that part?
Yes.
Okay. Now,
No, that's
can you
crazy.
tell the jurors while you were there what happened that early morning at the apartment?
Shout out to Nomad.
I was asleep. I was drunk, sleep, and I woke up to a call from Quindarius.
She was
and he
passed
told
out.
me,
Don't tell me what Mr. Zachary told you. Just tell me what you remember hearing or what happened at the apartment that you physically observed or heard.
I heard gunshots.
Okay. And do you remember how many gunshots you heard?
No.
All right. And is that what woke you up, the gunshots?
The second time, yes.
Okay. And after you heard the gunshots, can you tell the jurors kind of what happened or what was going on inside of Miss Bryant's apartment? You remember?
What you mean?
Oh,
Did
she
you get
said,
up?
"What you
Did
mean?"
you leave? Did you go back to sleep? What did you do after you heard
Oh,
gunshots?
man.
I don't remember what I did. I just remember waking up the next morning at my mom's house.
Okay. And, well, let me ask you this question. When you heard gunshots, do you believe, do you remember if it was more than one, two, was it multiple?
It was multiple.
Okay. And did hearing the gunshots, or the gunshots that woke you up the second time, did that surprise you? Like, were you expecting to hear gunshots that night?
No, but it didn't surprise me either.
Okay. Why not?
It just didn't.
You said it just didn't. Can you explain
All right,
to the
come on,
jurors
move on.
why it just didn't surprise you?
Objection as to relevance.
Because I
Overruled.
wasn't
Jeez.
scared, so it didn't surprise me.
Did any of the gunshots that you heard, did they come into Miss Bryant's apartment?
I don't remember.
Okay. Did you talk to any police after you heard the gunshots that early morning?
I don't remember, honestly.
No, it's interesting to hear her perspective
Now,
on what happened.
Let's talk a little bit about something that you listened to in the recording with the agents in September of 2015. Can you tell the jurors, do you remember talking to them about Donovan Thomas or Nuts murder.
I believe I heard myself say something about it.
Okay. And do you remember talking to the detectives about where Mr. Zachary was when Mr.
I'm going to object to the hearsay, that it calls for hearsay.
It doesn't.
I want to address this too. MC says Friday at 4 p.m. this judge decides Mounk Tounk goes to prison for 30 years. From my understanding, the sentencing and the revocation, is that the right word? Anyway, his probation being revoked aren't going to be done on the same day. So the probation will get revoked or not revoked. If it gets revoked, from what I understand, he goes back to jail and then he has to have another hearing where he'll be sentenced. From what I understand. So I'll do some more research on that. And if some of our amazing attorneys in the chat could verify that as well, but it should be the probation hearing Friday. Depending on how that goes, then we'll have another hearing after that. Anyway, let me run this back real quick. Just wanted to clarify there.
About it.
Okay. And do you remember talking to the detectives about where Mr. Zachary
his plea
was
deal's cooked.
when
I'm
Mr.
telling
I'm
you.
going to object to the hearsay, that it calls for hearsay.
It
I
doesn't.
told y'all as soon
The
as
answer
he
does not.
Okay.
got on the stand.
I'll listen to the rest of the question and then make a determination.
Do you remember talking to the detectives about how you knew where Mr. Zachary was when Mr. Thomas was killed?
Okay, overruled.
I believe so.
Okay. And do you remember telling the detectives that he was actually...
Objection to the leading question and that it calls for hearsay.
Do you remember what you told the detectives as to why you had personal knowledge of where Mr. Zachary was?
I do.
Okay. Can you tell the jurors?
I was with him.
Okay. And when you say you were with him, were you at his house, your house? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Okay. And do you remember talking to the detectives about how you had personal knowledge of where Antonio Sledge was during that time?
I do.
And can you tell the jurors a little bit about that, how you knew where he was?
I believe I told them that they were on FaceTime together.
Yeah, Sean, I don't like that either. Sean says she keeps letting him keep talking without ruling over objection. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like that she's doing that. If there's an objection, like, you need to stop. Man, he's conferring with Miss Love. What is going on here? What? Don't ask her questions.